Okay, here we are again doing some more of them carpool confessions. Headed out on a Saturday, so you know when these carpool confessions happen. And got a doozy for you today. Been thinking all week, what am I gonna sit around and talk to you folks about today? Well, a lot of times it comes from when I want to be real honest with you about something. And I get this one more than you would think. And it's kind of like, at the beginning of every year, we always go like, hey, I want to get in shape this year. So I'm going to go to the gym. Then you don't go to the gym because you're trying to get in shape so you don't embarrass yourself before you go to the gym. And then you end up never going to the gym. Well, it's kind of that way when you're, like trying to buy a house or something. I want to buy a house. Well, I need to talk to a lender or something. Well, let me try to straighten out my credit first. Then you get people trying to straighten out their credit. Then it never happens. That's why you see a lot of videos of mine, I'm going like, oh, you need to talk to a lender first. Well, get a lot of folks like, well, I don't want to talk to a lender just yet. That's why I say, you hear me going like, hey, it doesn't matter if it's 3 days from now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now kind of thing, because it could take 3 years to straighten out your credit. Well, okay, I get this one a lot. And sometimes my videos, when I talk, it's because I've had a conversation with somebody, and I have this conversation a lot more often than you think. And sometimes people will say, hey, was that video for me, or because we had a conversation? Sometimes it's because other people need to hear this. And sometimes lately I've not wanted to make certain videos, like you hear me always going like, hey, you need to talk to the lender first. You talk to the lender because they're a very important part. And a lot of lenders even say, hey, people don't want to talk to us because it's like going to the dentist and going to the realtor. It's like going to Disneyland, because people love to go shopping for houses, but they don't like talking to us, which is true. You got to sit there and you got to splay everything out for the lender. Whereas when you go talk to a realtor, you go get to see houses and talk about houses. Everyone wants to do that. Well, the lender is an important part. You don't hear a lot of realtors talk about it for multiple reasons. I'm going to talk about that first, just a little bit. The reason a lot of realtors don't like to talk about the lender is because as important as the lender is, the lender can also be an impediment. I'll give you a good example. I have a lender that I'm going to call it was working with. I've given a lot of hints about it, and I'll just go ahead. I normally don't put names out there for certain reasons because I've given hints like how you have to be careful with working with certain lenders. I'm going to put the name out there. It's Veterans United. And I've done a lot of work with Veterans United over the years, and I'm severing the relationship for many reasons. And one of the reasons is I've worked with at least 5 clients that have come through YouTube. And of those 5 clients, each one is like, you said in your YouTube videos to go talk to a lender first. Well, they went to Veterans United because if you go and you type in VA loans, what's the first thing that pops up? Because they've SEO'd it so well and they spend so much on advertising, is Veterans United. Well, like them and a lot of other lenders, they're gonna first, after you fill out the application, they go, well, are you working with a realtor? Well, we haven't talked because what do I say? Talk to the lender first. Well, you go like, well, no, I'm not really working with a realtor yet. So they go, well, let's work with, why don't we put you to, then they'll say like, well, why don't you talk to our realtor? So then they put you in touch with one of their realtors, and of those 5 at least have come back to me, and then I got to pay out 35% to work with people who I sent there through my videos. So that's at 5 over the years, which means how many went to Veterans United from my videos who I didn't get to work with, and of the 5, I had to give out 35% of the commission. So that was a little frustrating in itself. And then the other part, when I was talking about the lenders who take, where you have to end up paying, more money to work with them, they're the ones who I was hinting at. And really the reason I'm not going to lie. I don't want to say they were bad to work with. The issue I had with them is they charge this thing called the origination fee. If you look at a lot of my videos, I keep talking about that origination fee. It's up to 1% of the loan. And yes, they can charge that, can and do. But let's say you're buying a $350,000 house, just making an example. That's $3,500 in fees that you don't have to pay if you work with a lender that doesn't charge it. So that's money out your pocket. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, we're talking about credit. So a lot of people try to fix their credit ahead of time. And here's the thing. You end up going to these companies, and in this one, I don't want to mention names. That's because they are what you call litigious. You know what I mean? They like to sue people. When you're working with somebody, think about this. Business in a capitalistic society, their job is to make money, right? So let's discuss how people make money. A realtor makes money, of course, by helping you find a house, and they get a commission. A lender makes money, believe it or not, in general, other than, that origination fee we just talked about. Yeah, they actually make money on the loan of about 1.5% on the back end. Okay, so $500,000 loan, they make, what's that, $7,500 plus the origination fee if they charge that. Okay, well, how does a credit repair company make money? Well, if you have a credit repair company that's charging you $150 a month, they make money by charging you $150 a month. If it takes them 18 months to fix your credit, how much money have they made? So if they make $149 a month, it takes them 18 months to fix your credit. How much money have they made? 149 times 18. If they can fix your credit in 3 months, how much money have they made? 149 times 3. If they're capitalist, which one makes them more money? Answer that question. So if you're sitting there, you work with a credit repair company and they're doing, okay, we wrote this letter, here's your invoice. We did this, here's your invoice. Is this starting to sound familiar to those of you working with these credit repair companies? Sounding familiar? Now, the reason I say go to a lender first is because a lot of lenders will help you with your credit. Now, how do they make their money? Well, didn't I just say 1.5% of your back end loan? Well, if they're making 1.5% of the back end loan, the faster they get your credit fixed, the more money they make faster. Don't people want their money faster? So they want to find the fastest way to get your credit fixed to make the most money possible. They're going to do the stuff the fastest legally that's going to get them paid the fastest legally, which means they're going to do the stuff to get your credit fixed, as opposed to, we wrote a letter, here is your invoice for 149. And that's what happens with a lot of these credit repair places. That's what they're doing. They're writing a letter that may or may not do something. Not, we fixed this. If those of you work with these credit repair companies, start looking back. We wrote a letter. Now I'm going to tell you 3 stories. 3. So I had an individual, he was actually the very first person who ever contacted me through YouTube. This person, he was like, but I'm never going to be able to buy a house. I'm never going to be able to buy a house. What's wrong? Well, I have credit issue. Okay, let's see what we can do. He'd never gone through a credit repair agency. Put him in touch with a lender, right? Lender's like, oh, all you need to do is this, this, and this. We'll have your credit cleared up in 6 weeks. This is what happened in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, credit repaired. 3 weeks later, after looking at several homes, under contract. 1 month later, we were moving him into his new home. He goes from, I'm never going to be able to buy a house, to 6 weeks later, shopping for homes. 3 weeks after that, under contract. 1 month after that, moving into his home. By the way, this was back when interest rates were under 3%, probably has $150,000, $200,000 in equity now, all from making a phone call and all from just talking to a lender. Second story, lady, she had, we're trying to get her credit fixed and everything. It really wasn't that big of an issue. She had something on her credit and she had filed a dispute. Now you would think that's the right thing to do. Not always. It was the way she filed the dispute. Now you would think filing a dispute would actually help out. In this case, and the way it was done, it did not help out. It actually made things worse. So the lender goes, okay, all you got to do is just remove the dispute. And she's like, no, I'm not removing this dispute because I don't owe this. And the lender's like, that's not the point. The point is you need to remove the dispute. No, I'm not removing this dispute. I don't owe this money. Back and forth, week after week. Finally, the lender convinces her to remove the dispute. Loan's approved. Gets into the house, puts the dispute back on her credit. Bam, she's got a house. That's the point. Third story. Person doesn't do what she's told, doesn't contact the lender, shows into town, out of town. Okay. Then, after showing into town, it's like, you didn't contact any lenders or anything? No, I decided to come into town and we're gonna go shopping for houses. Okay. Let's put you in touch with the lender first. Gets in touch with the lender. It's like, well, you've got this thing from a timeshare on there. It's like, I don't have anything from a timeshare. I've never been to a timeshare. I don't own a timeshare. What are you talking about? Lender's like, no, let me fix this. Contacts the timeshare people. They tell her to do something. I have no idea what they told her to do, but she does what the timeshare people tell her to do. She's like, no, I don't have anything on timeshare. So she follows what the timeshare people tell her what to do. Lender goes, her credit's all messed up now. Whatever she did, follow what they told her to do, yeah, that's great. But what she did just destroyed her credit for the next 2 years to buy a house. That's why you shouldn't be following what people who are trying to get what they want done. So she destroyed her ability to buy a house for 2 years, following what they wanted her to do. Now remember, credit is so important. In order to buy a house, to buy a car, insurance now looks at your credit. If you have a good job, or at least want a good job, they're looking at your credit. If you're getting a job and you're trying to upgrade your security clearance, credit. So many things are looking at credit now. You got to be so careful. And if you're trying to raise that credit score, you need to be out there taking care of this stuff. And just by going with these credit agencies, you got to be careful, because their job is to make sure they extract the most money humanly possible. When I say, go to a lender first, I mean, I want this to be the most useful time possible while I'm sitting here doing this drive in the heat, camera overheating and everything. And it's even hard because I do realize that folks follow what I tell them, and then the lender goes, hey, we have a realtor for you, because I know some of them, they ain't loyal. I mean, I've seen some stuff out there. This one time I met this guy and he was like, man, I really want to work with you. Let's go ahead and do this. I want you to sell my house and I want you to help me buy a new build out this place. And it was like, man, this is so great. And he had a lender, and there was he had a deferment going on. And he goes, contacts the lender, and he said, I already got a realtor and all, and he was going to help me sell my house, and he's going to help me buy the new house. And they're like, well, in order for you to, well, first of all, he found out he's going to be buying a new build. It's like, okay, so here's what's going to happen. You have to use our realtor to sell your house. He's like, okay, that's no problem. Already got a realtor for the new house. He's like, no. You also have to use our realtor for you to buy the new house. He's like, what? What does that have to do with anything else? No. If you want, because of the deferment that you have, for us to approve this, you have to use our realtor to sell your house and our realtor to buy your new house. I mean, this is how crazy they are, man. You see some of these videos I did when I keep talking about some of these lenders. Like this one time I asked this one lender, all I asked was the simplest question. It's like, can you tell me what your fees are so I'll know what to ask for, because this guy needed closing cost help. And all she did was just start going off.
Please don't put him with another lender. I worked with him for 2 years to get his credit straightened out. I worked so hard to get his credit straight. I need to make sure that...
And it's like, all I did was ask for what their fees were, to ask for closing costs. And it really is that way. And that's why when they want to put you with their realtor, and that's why Veterans United, they're putting you with their realtor, the entire purpose is to protect their loan, because there's this kind of relationship that the realtors and lenders and all these people have, where the lenders came up and figured out that when you bring your own realtor to the table, or you go and you find your own realtor, that realtor may be working with the lender, and they try to go, hey, have you thought about getting another estimate on your loan? Because different lenders will charge different amounts, which is going to give you, different amounts you're going to have to bring to the table for closing. And they want to protect their end. You hear me talk a lot about the fact that, I like to work with the new home builds and everything, because they pay your closing costs. They pay your closing costs when you work with their lender. Well, lenders don't like that, because they're not going to make any money. So like with Veterans United, remember I was talking about a young lady, it was a little less than a year ago, where she needed closing costs. And so, I'm coming up front now. I'm on Front Street. And she was going to get a new bill because they were going to pay her closing costs. The loan officer lost his crap. He was like, can't you help find her a previously owned house? Because he knew that they weren't going to be able to compete against a new build. Because at the time, it was just really hard to compete against a new build. And it was like, I'll ask. Everything. And he just worked her and got to a point where it was like he was going to give her like $3,500 for closing costs. And all I could think was like, just rolling my eyes. It's like, but you charge an origination fee. All you're doing is just giving her back origination fee. That's really all he was doing. Where the new bill wasn't charging an origination fee for their lender and then giving her actual closing costs. And he worked her. And the day we were supposed to go sign the paperwork, guess what? He talked her out of the new bill to go buy another house. Remember, And she would have to, because of the interest rate buy down, would have to get a cheaper place. So it's like, yeah, he really talked me in, and how it's smarter to get a cheaper place and everything, to pay the same amount. No, I go, why don't you call them and ask them the following question? Are they still going to give you that $3,500? She calls me back. They're not giving that to me anymore. I'm wearing these sunglasses. I don't know if you can see my eyes cutting over to you. Now they don't have to compete. They weren't going to give her anything. Talked her out of getting full closing costs. Now they're not giving her anything. That's what they do. But, they didn't even have to really work on doing her credit or anything like that. So this is kind of industry you're kind of dealing with. And that's the industry you're dealing with. Those guys, I want to show you something. I pulled it off the shelf. I got a whole shelf of these suckers. You see this? This supposedly is the book I wrote on credit repair. Supposedly. So I actually had a franchise, and so I can kind of talk to credit repair a little bit. And it was like at a real estate conference. I bought into this franchise, and I actually know a few guys who still have like little franchises, these credit repair places. And I mean, unlike the places I'm talking about, it was $149 a month, but it wasn't to hold you into there where you're making the money off the franchise. It was to get you, if you needed your credit repair, actually your credit repaired as soon as humanly possible, because not everybody wants to go to the gym. It was to send you to the gym and get your stuff done, because not everybody's going to get it done or go to the lender. And that was the purpose of the franchise, to send you to credit repair and actually get stuff done. But I ended up leaving the franchise. I don't even know if it still exists, because the guy who co-authored the book, let's be honest, anytime you see a realtor or lender or anybody else and they sit there with the book and this is the book I wrote, it was pre-written and they just put their name on it. That's about it. So I mean, that's pretty much it. So that's kind of like the relationship that goes on with all of this stuff, and it's like really the dead honest truth about it. If you need your credit repaired, the best places I've seen that do credit repair when you're trying to buy a house, including when you're trying to get yourself set up to do anything else, is going to be a lender. And the reason is going to be that they need you to buy a house. If you take a year to get done, it takes you a year. The thing is, it's going to take you a year. With the credit repair agencies, it may take you a year, but they may drag it out a year and a half, 2 years, because they want to collect their $150 a month, $149 a month. Go look up some of these credit repair agencies, the ones that do it full time. You'll see a lot of bad reviews on them. The lenders want you to buy a house. They're desperate for you to buy a house. They want you to get that house as soon as humanly possible, so they have an incentive to help you. They have desktop software that will go like, this is what you need to do. You're trying to pay this thing off. It may be the wrong thing to pay. That's not going to do anything for you. They're going to say, no, don't even worry about paying this off. Pay this off. This is what's going to affect your credit the most, and that's going to get you into the house that you want, which is also going to improve your credit. That's going to get you into the car you want, get you into a better job, get you into everything else. So that's the biggest thing that you want to do. I know you want to get into the house. I know you want to work out before you go to the gym at the beginning of the year, so you look good, have your good Instagram going on. Having a nice house is going to give you a better Instagram profile than anything else. So I'm going to tell you this much as I keep talking about it and harping on it about going to the lender first, I'm going to have to start doing like other realtors, because this is the reason they don't tell you, because they know that if you go to the lender first, they're going to try to send you to their realtors to protect their transaction, because they don't want you to go to a realtor after they've gotten you your loan to then go and pick another realtor, or for that realtor to then send you to another lender once you've gotten your credit straight. Because let's say you go to a lender first. That lender straightens your credit, and then you go find a realtor. Well, that realtor may go like, wow, your credit's all straight. Because once you have a pre-approval, going to another lender is no big deal. Somebody else has done the work. The work's done. Then you can just go to another lender and get a pre-approval, and the lender knows that. So they want to protect themselves, and that's why they try to put you with another realtor. And I've come to realize this. And at the very least, if you go to a lender and they go, hey, are you working with a realtor? Yes. Can you please say, yes, I'm working with Eric Hudson. We met on YouTube, or at the very least, call me first, and I can match with a realtor who's not, or at the very least, can you please let me reach out and I'll put you with a lender. I promise they're not going to charge you a bunch of fees. They're not going to charge you that stupid origination fee, and they're going to have good interest rates. Or at the very least, once we're working together, we get your pre-approval. You can shop around and make sure that you pay the least amount possible, because, you know, I do want you to pay the least amount possible for that loan portion. And I try to work with lenders who do that for you. Okay, so that concludes this portion, and I'm starting to get, like I said, more cautious on that. I've actually, in some of my videos, told you the lenders nationally that's going to charge you the least, but I'm starting to realize that I've never before said anything about Veterans United, but people ended up there. And like I said, 5 of them ended up back into my sphere going like, yeah, we're going to call you, but you kept saying go to the lender first. And we went there and they said, did you want to us to connect you with a realtor? And we're like, yeah. And then we ended back here with you, which means how many people ended up with other realtors? Oh, by the way, here's another one that got me. Did you know, because their name is Veterans United, people thought that the realtors they were working with, because I work with a lot of military, are military related. Here in Las Vegas, I am the only realtor with Veterans United who is military related. Actually, I have people go like, what, aren't all the realtors veterans? Like, no. And here's the reason I'm not working with Veterans United anymore, even though for a while after them screwing over enough people that I'm not working with them anymore. And I'll talk about it a little deeper later. The biggest one, they've changed their model a bit. In the past, what it do is they just sent out text. And it's like, we have a referral available. It's a referral network. And, you know, the first one to answer the text kind of thing, go to their app. Well, they changed it and they started going like, okay, we're only sending the referrals out to the top 5 people, which are really just big teams. These teams are not veterans. So, yeah, that's the reason it's like, it's not worth my time anymore. And I want you to know if you're a veteran and you go to, like I say, to Google, wherever, and you type in VA loan, look, they're all sponsored. And if you go to military.com and you answer anything about VA loan, they're paying military.com. So it's not that, and they charge this 1% fee. A lot of the other lenders do not charge that. So that's thousands of dollars out your pocket. I want to give you guys some more good advice. It has been sticking to me, and I've felt guilty every time I've looked at the loan documents, and I don't have to feel guilty anymore now that I've severed my relationship with them. And it's not all sour grapes, I'll be very honest. I felt other than that, they have treated veterans very good. Other than that 1%, I feel they have treated veterans very good. And they have, you know, like that one veteran I talked about with the new home bills. When it comes to new home bills, I don't think they've done veterans very well, because they want to protect that loan so bad that they have screwed enough veterans that way. And yeah, it's mainly when it comes to new home bills and that 1%. But they try to protect that so bad, but there's a lot of times when veterans could have gotten much better deals where they're trying to protect that loan. Anyway, that's it for this week for the carpool confessions. Next week, I'll probably have something else, hopefully. Last week, I just was in too much of a hurry to do one. At least a couple of times a month, I would like to get these carpool confessions out to you. If there is something where you want me to just be raw as hell, let me know. If you want to reach out to me, call, text, email, all that usual YouTube BS. If you like what I'm saying, subscribe. All my information is down below, of course, and then hopefully somebody put that pinned comment down there. This is where I just really want to be unscripted, lay it out, talk to you like folks, and just be me. This is just me, okay?